we shine on the light. Welcome to chat night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. We all over the world, chat night Africa. We all over the world, chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. Welcome to chat night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. We all over the world, chat night Africa. We all over the world, chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night, the only place that we give you good vibes. Chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night, all over the world we are shining the light. Chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Voices of Africa. My name is Divine Chamukong, and I am anchoring this broadcast from Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. A lot of people, especially Africans, love to own a business and be called CEO, Chief Executive Officer. While some people move from ideas to action, many others remain at the level of indecision. How do you then gravitate from Chief Procrastinating Officer, CPO, to Chief Executive Officer, CEO? How do you know whether the business idea you have is one that is profitable? When you start a business, it's unlikely that you will be in the marketplace all by yourself or alone. So what does it take to stay in business in a very highly competitive environment? Unemployment across Africa is a social cancer with dire ramifications. That's why we are doing this topic this week. Remember, a hungry man is an angry man. To take my questions today is Dr. Joybet Njavnui, a business expert and mentor. Joybet has traveled the length and breadth of Africa, teaching thousands of youths and also mentoring. He's done the same in Africa. He is a top-notch, first-tier business expert. So you can understand why he is the one invited to take my questions. Ladies and gentlemen, join me now in welcoming the person who once was homeless, Dr. Joybet Njavnui, fondly called Mr. Remarkable. Here is the gentleman live from the United States.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on Chat Night Africa again. I think for my third time or so, it's always good to be around and to share some thoughts with you. Thank you.
We want to be the ones to thank you for accepting our invitation. We'll have an exhilarating broadcast today. Thank you again.
Looking forward to it.
Joybet, you have traveled to just about every African country and the Middle East, teaching, mentoring. Lots of youths are looking up to you for answers to the endemic problem of unemployment. Where is the missing link? Government not providing jobs or people just lazy?
Well, I would like to start by saying that it's not only one missing link. There are many missing links, especially across the African continent. And of course, I always like to emphasize that government does not provide jobs. Government provide the ecosystem that the private sector can create initiatives and companies and enterprises that can provide jobs for the people. If you see a country where the government is the highest employer, that country definitely has a problem and may not be sustainable. So it's not only one missing link, there are several missing links. It is possible to also find that there are people who are not proactive enough, they are not taking initiative, they're not hardworking enough, they're not innovative enough to create opportunities for themselves that can make them employable. So that is why the issue of unemployment actually depends on where the person is, what the person has, what the person can do and cannot do, and the kind of ecosystem where the person finds his or herself. So it depends on a lot. And across the African continent, we're structured to train and graduate competent professionals to the marketplace. It creates unemployment and many other things. So you see, it takes a lot of things to actually begin to address the issue of unemployment. But I also believe that I think that governments across the African continent are not very intentional and strategic enough to find a sustainable solution to the unemployment issue across the African continent.
Joy, but when you say government isn't the one to solely provide employment jobs to people who are graduating from universities, you're going to sound really strange, don't you think so? I mean, we saw in Cameroon at some point people with PhDs were lined up in front of a ministry in Yaoundé, protesting that government hadn't given them jobs. Why isn't government's responsibility to provide jobs?
Again, I like to look at it from the perspective of government providing jobs indirectly, as I said. You know, people have the right to match up to their government when they don't have the jobs because they elected or voted the government leaders, from the presidents to senators, parliamentarians, to create an ecosystem, to establish policies that can create a thriving economy. And the only people that they can hold accountable for the jobs they don't have is the government. If the private sector is failing in any country, the government has a hand in it. So there's nothing wrong with the citizens matching up to their government and holding the government accountable. But again, like in Cameroon, I think and many people may agree with me. I'm using the word may because some may not agree, of course. The government in Cameroon has totally failed to provide the right ecosystem that can promote the private sector in a way that the private sector can begin to create the needed employment opportunities for the people, right? Because a country that there are a lot of initiatives, there are a lot of contributions and people starting businesses and sustainable businesses, that country will definitely thrive with a lot of opportunities. But in a country where the ecosystem is not favorable for small businesses, when you look at in any country, even in the United States of America, small businesses when you combine them together, they are the highest employers of labor, basically. Right. So if a nation is going to thrive, they need to create and implement policies and structures that will create an economy, an ecosystem where these SMEs can begin to thrive as far as the business is concerned. But in a country where you will find mostly corruption and embezzlement and poor governance and the tax system not favoring people and the tax officers just swindling money from SMEs, all of this causes a lot of problems that begin to hurt the SMEs, which hurts the economy. And when the economy is struggling, jobs will not be available.
I have seen people, SMEs, who are thriving. I take, for example, Cameroon, because that's where I was born. And I think when you travel across Africa, you're going to find people who, in spite of the things you're talking about, are doing well. So what are they doing that others are not doing?
Yeah. This is something that we need to also come to terms with, that not everybody is courageous. Not everybody has the same level of resilience, determination. Not everybody understands certain things. So when the economy is too hard, or the economy is structured in a way that only the brave, only the courageous can survive, only a few people will be making it. And we don't need an economy where you need to work extra hard for you to succeed. Like in many African countries, we don't need economies where you need to do a lot of bribery, you need to do a lot of shouting and fighting and all of that to do the right thing. So one of the things that you'll get to understand with people I'm making is that there are people who are too brave enough, to do the things that many people are not willing to. That's a fact. I've been providing consulting and coaching to thousands of SMEs across the African continent. And when you get to see the ones that are making it, you need to see the price that they are paying. You need to see the brevity and the courage that they get to put in. And we need to accept that not everybody has the audacity to do certain things. So if the economy is structured in a way that only people with audacity and super courage and super persistence can make it, is gonna stop many people from starting initiatives and building sustainable initiatives, right? I have had the privilege to provide coaching and consulting in the United States of America. And I will tell you point blank, the energy you need to make it in the United States is not the same energy you need to make in Africa, because the economy, when you walk into an office to do something, nobody cares whether you are from a rich family, poor family, or somebody. They serve everybody the same. But from where I come from in Cameroon, it's not so. If you don't know somebody inside the office, a document that can take a day may take a month or 6 months. You see the difference? Just that time difference cause a lot of difficulties. So the people that have the brevity and the courage to begin to shout at people or to begin to pay the bribes or have the money to do that, they get to survive. But we need an economy that creates equality. That is an economy that will thrive. But an economy where the weak will not survive and only the brave ones can win, that economy has an issue.
Joy, but those listening to you now or watching you who have used this reason of government doesn't do that, government doesn't do it, would be saying, oh, they got their word today. When you travel across Africa, what are you telling the young people? I'm not asking you what you're telling governments. What are you telling young people?
Yeah, I have had the privilege to speak with both governments and the private sector, and I always share, but I always tell young people that, look, like for the last 30 years, the last 20 years, we have been complaining about poor governance. So I always tell young people one thing. Yes, we already know that we have poor governance. We have bribery and corruption. We have bad leadership. We have poor economic policies. And majority of governments do not have young people at heart the way they should do. But that should not stop us from going the extra mile. I always like to use the statement that become so good at what you're doing that nobody can ignore you. Become so resilient that you cannot give up. I always tell young people, look, start your business. Everything is permitted to happen in your business, but you are not permitted to give up. Because when you give up, nobody is coming to help you. If you don't try to create a job for yourself, you are trying to look for a job in an economy where there are no jobs. So when you give up, how are you going to feed? How are you going to take care of your family? So despite the challenges and despite the difficulties, we need to find a way to keep going forward, to keep building the right skills, the right mindset, the right partnerships, creating the right value, and seeing how we can take advantage of the market. But we should not also be silent. We can also hold our government accountable. We can also advocate for a better economy. We can also speak to lawmakers and legislators. We can also begin to talk and request for a better economy. But while we are expecting for things to change, we should keep moving forward. We should keep adapting. I always like to say that if you are an entrepreneur in Africa, you must be a chief figuring officer. You need to learn how to figure your way out in a difficult economy, because entrepreneurs solve problems. And being in a bad economy, in a fragmented market with difficult terrain, it is your job to figure out how to maneuver and come out of this particular kind of terrain and make sure that you win. That is our responsibility.
Dr. Richard Munang, who is a climate expert with the United Nations residing in Nairobi, would say, you know what? He echoes the same thing. Be so good that nobody can ignore you. If you're asking people to be so good that nobody can ignore them, you are insinuating that there are people who aren't so good or who don't care to be so good that they get being ignored.
Yeah.
What's your comment on that? How do you respond to that?
This actually happens in every economy. You know, there are some people that want to get opportunities on they desire things that they are not qualified for. But there is one thing in a difficult economy where there is too much bribe. I always ask people, if you don't know somebody at the top, you don't have the money to bribe, how are you going to win? The only way to win is to become so good that people at the top would desire competence. Right? I always say something funny that in a country like Cameroon, there are about 3 ways to succeed in Cameroon, 4 ways to succeed in Cameroon. Number one, have a godfather who can speak for you. Number two, have money to bribe your way through to the top. Number three, you can become you can have a sugar mommy, a sugar daddy who can speak for you, right? Number four, become so good and so competent that nobody can ignore you. I would like to say that because, and I think that the place of hard work and competence and excellence is very important. Personally, for me, I have had the opportunities where I have done jobs sometimes with government agencies because the only reason they came to me was because they knew that I could get the job done. Right, I did not like I was bidding for a particular government stuff to do, and they told me that I need to pay some bribe, and I said I don't pay bribes. Right, I don't pay bribes, so I don't pay bribes. I don't receive bribes, so I am not interested, and I'm going to walk away. And they thought I was joking, and I walked away. Right, so but later on I had to do the job because I was the only person available, qualified enough to get the job done at that particular time. So the only reason they used me was because I was good enough to get the job done. Right, so I always like to emphasize with young people, if you are in a difficult terrain, one of your major responsibilities, become the best at what you do. Bring your A game all the time. It will always serve you and put you a step ahead beyond other people.
Dr. Joybet Njavnui, you at some point in your life were homeless. You worked as a bartender, not because you really wanted it, but because you had to have a place to lay your head to sleep over the night.
Yeah.
So what propels you from homelessness to being an international speaker, mentoring thousands of people across Africa, teaching people how to make ends meet, teaching people to catch fish and not to wait for fish to be caught and sent to them and given them?
Well, I always say that it's very simple. I had no other option, I had no other option than to move forward. This happened when I moved to Bamenda from my town in Kumbo. I spoke to my mom and I said, look, I need to leave Kumbo and move to Bamenda and see what to do with my life. So I left Kumbo to Bamenda. I didn't have a relative. I didn't know where I was going to sleep. So I was basically, I would go to the what they call Okada Park and I'll speak to my fellow Banso guys. So for 7 days, I slept in 7 houses because every night I'll beg a new person to sleep in his or her house, right? And that was my model. And then on the last night, I didn't know where to sleep, and I saw a beer parlor, and they were looking for a salesperson, and I went there and I said I can sell in the beer parlor. And the main reason I wanted to sell in that beer parlor was so I could have where to sleep, right? So and that I think that particular week, when I think about it, it redefined my journey and my commitments to see that I don't end up poor or I don't end up a struggling young man. And I made up my mind that the only thing I'm going to do for myself is to find a better life. I didn't have a perfect blueprint. That's a fact. That I'm a young person at that age, at that young age. I cannot say that I knew all the things I knew now, but all I knew was that I had to live a better life. I had to find a better way to. That's why after that situation, I started doing commercial motorbike riding, what they call Okada in Cameroon, Nigeria. I started working in bakeries and in the night, started doing car wash and all of that. And while I was doing that, I was saving majority of the money, and I started paying for my undergraduate program in the university because my mom taught me the importance of education. And my mom told me that the fastest way that I can succeed is for me to be educated. And I believe that, and I've always believed in education. So education basically saved my life. And again, as I always say, the only option I have was to go back to poverty, right? There was no plan B. There was only plan A: move forward or you go back to poverty. So and I made up my
Somebody on the
mind that
line, Dr.
I'll find a
Njagnu,
way.
I have somebody on the line from Douala. That's Alene Menget. Hello, Alene.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Everybody on the planet is listening to you. For those who do not know, Alene Menget, he's one of the most successful restaurant owners in the Republic of Cameroon. Alene, thank you for taking my call on Chat Night Africa.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful to be here with you.
Alene Menget, I have known you as a DJ on radio. I've known you as a comedian. How did you move from being a DJ on radio to becoming an extraordinary restaurant owner? Your restaurant in Douala is called a Ni Restaurant. I visited it. How did you do it? Are you a magician?
No, DJ, there's no money when you're a DJ. There's no money when you're a best African actor. There's no money when you're a comedian. You just get popularity. People love what you do, so you need to look for a brand to sell. So getting a household name in the name of Ni, or winning Best African Actor 3 times in Ghana, London, and Cannes in France doesn't give you the leverage to be rich. So you get popular, and people minimize you by giving you peanuts sometimes when they see you. But if they want to get a picture with you, let them come to the restaurant. Let's get a brand that people can not only associate you with comedy. If they love you, they support the brand, then you grow from there. That was the whole idea.
Let me get you. When I came to Douala, you had one. Now you've opened the second one. Where is that, Bonanjo?
No, we have one in Bonamusadi, one in Daido. But we hope to grow everywhere by the special grace of God.
And I have no doubt you'll do it. Alene Menget, what is it that you are doing that others are not doing? I've seen people venture in this restaurant business, catering business, and just failed. What is it you are doing?
There is this planning. You need to plan everything you want to do in life. You can succeed anywhere you wish. Now, I changed methods. Restaurants have become very saturated. I have to change methods. That's why I'm going towards the people. We brought in the idea of delivery service because a lot of people had opened restaurants and thought that's all we could do. A lot of people are entering into delivery service and getting food to people's houses. The good news is in 2 weeks, I'm turning one restaurant into a total grill. Before people get to the idea to start building grill, like I've built grill, I'll be into something else. So I just want to be a pivot. So
you
want to do the restaurant just to grill meat throughout the day and the night. So it's innovation. It's changing methods. Yes.
You always several steps ahead of your competition, Alene Menget.
Yes, that's exactly what we should do. I need to survive, and I don't want to come over there with you. So I need to survive the hard way.
And honestly, you are doing it right. That's why I thought you should speak to what message, Alene Menget, do you have for people, those youths, those who have graduated from universities and thinking that government ought to provide them jobs? You did not wait for government.
The truth is, this is what we've been preaching on them. We have a very negative society. We've been preaching to them. We have a society, a dependent society that went through grammar school and learned geography and literature, and all of them wanted to go through ENS. Go to the Nigerian society or all the huge economies of the world, including the country you're living in. It's being run by the capitalists, the people who put in ideas and money. But here we have bottlenecks who want to sit on the fact and heavy. If you come even to Maryland and the rest, Cameroonians are still dealing with the titles, doctor, professor, pharmacist, this, that. They do not realize all these names are names that are being hung on people who work for other people, who work for systems. I prefer a young man out there who starts selling cigarettes and builds a brand, and someday he transforms tobacco and puts his own name there and goes on with it. But that's not our society. We're not based on those kind of ideology. We're based on the fact that we are followers. We've been trained to follow other people's ideas. That's why most of the things in Cameroon are being imported. Mm-hmm. They respect expatriates more than our local people who have the same qualification. Cameroonians respect Nigerians and foreigners. Once you say you're a foreigner in Cameroon, you have more respect than the local.
Exactly.
Once you say this good is made in Cameroon, it's not been loved. So it's a whole change of ideology from the producers who are we to the consumers who are also us. Mm-hmm. So that's it. I would advise every young person from our negative society that you can do it. You don't know my background. It was very, very difficult. You are talking to me today. Very few people would know that you're the first person that took me to radio on the
Oh,
number
that's so nice
show.
of you.
We need open-minded people like you. If you didn't give me the opportunity to come to radio and build a career, I wouldn't have been a radio hero when you left. So the people who have succeeded should tell the young people the truth about how to grow instead of hiding it or coding it. We're coming from a very pretentious background of people whom when they catch success, they feel that that's the end of the world. I'll still take you to some few things like the days you wore Mr. shoes. That was the most expensive shoes in town those days. You remember those shop owners in Bamenda whom everybody respected that they were the richest
Andy
people?
Brown and so on.
The continuity of all those businesses. Where are the continuities of all those businesses?
Yeah.
It is because we buy and sell. People don't want to create. And if you buy and sell, there's someday when the economy goes down, you're going to get into the dooms. See the amount of respect we get everybody who bought and sold. So if you come back, create something. God has given talent to everybody. But people want to minimize their talent. I like the way Cameroonians have transformed the names of tellers to designers. That is what we should be doing. Give value to talent. Give value to creativity. I think that's the advice I'll drop here.
Wow, Alene Menget, you are incredible. But before you go, Alene Menget, when you wanted to venture into business, were you did you have some fear, some trepidations in you that, oh, what if I try this and it doesn't work? And if you had, how did you overcome those fears?
There is something about you people should know. Once you build a plan A, plan B, plan C that you could always fall back on, it goes simple. Now, I took many years to build capital for this business. I want to tell a lot of folks out there that it's not capital that is important in a business. That's why I took many years, because that's the only thing I lacked. I didn't have any person that would give me that small capital to start with. So I started by branding a business that I did not own. I started by getting myself popular and getting followers. And,
wow.
I started by opening TV and radio stations, which are my main business. I have them, but I'm not showing them now because I think that could be a retirement business. Immediately I realized that the TV or the audiovisual section would not pay me at that moment. I needed to survive and still be there. After building this, when the war broke in the Northwest and Southwest regions, lots of folks, I took them into my house, colleagues and the rest, because I was already in Douala. So I had to cook for them every day, and my easygoing life, I was doing barbecue every weekend. Now, I settled a lot, and they too started their own homes and started doing things here. Then I was smart enough to ask them to start buying food from me. They will not miss my taste. And these are the people who built. Now, I went now out of the house instead of cooking for friends. I opened a restaurant and I told them, I don't cook in the house now. You people should come and buy. Most of them are huge stars. Most of them are movie, TV, and they're part of my music stars. And people follow music stars. So it was a whole business created on its own that took many years to grow. I was for 3 to 4 years cooking online for free. 3 to 4 years making food programs and putting them on YouTube and Facebook. 3 to 4 years building that brand, which means from the day I said this is a restaurant, from that day to today, it has always been food. It's 3 years gone. It's because of the preparation. I took the risk of taking care of preparation, took the risk of taking care of the risk, took the risk. I mean, sometimes we put down, but like now, it's not been the best because there's a lot of competition. A lot of people feel it's easy and so it's saturated, especially the cooking business is one of the easiest business in capital. If you have 1 million, you start it and start cooking your house and send people out there 200,000. So half of my customers have become my competitors. So, but I need to go a little bit ahead. So back to your question. Everything has worked on the plan till now.
Thank you.
Other plans I'm working that I wouldn't tell you because I know that if this one falls, I need to seek in for plan B. And if plan B is not moving, I need to go back to TV station. And if TV station fails me, I'll go back to comedy. If comedy does not work well, I'll take a role in the movie. So I've just prepared a live that works on plan.
Wow. Alene Menget, you know what? There's one word I have that describes you best. You are dynamite. Look, listen.
From a mentor, I take it with a positive, with some smile on my face.
We're going to have to make an arrangement for you to be a main guest on this platform. You have so much to unpack. Thank you, Alene Menget. Alene Menget from Nee's Restaurant, the best in Cameroon, live from Douala. Thank you.
This is Divine Chamukong on the Northwest Family Show.
Thank you. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Lennon Menget is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What comments do you have to make on what, he said?
Yeah. Nee is somebody that we all admire. We have followed as young people across Cameroon. And one thing that Nee has successfully done, which we need to learn as people who want to start businesses, is learning how to leverage on what we have to create something sustainable. One of my recent books that I just published on LinkedIn, on Amazon, is how to build attention, manage attention, and monetize it.
We'll come to that. Just hold your thought right there. We have somebody on the line. Hello, that's Dr. Digol Kabinda. Dr. Digol?
Yeah, how are you, Mr. Chamakan?
I'm good, sir. You have been listening, watching this broadcast. You have the title. We're talking about how you get from procrastinating to becoming the CEO that all of us love to become. What is it that involves to become what we want to be? CEO, not chief procrastinating officers.
I like the way you put it. Yeah, I think, when I saw your advertisement for this program, I think that's what really caught my attention. As you say, there's a lot of words thrown out here in the diaspora, CEO. And I've heard that too. But I think what takes me aback is when somebody say a CEO, what comes across first is, you must have a company. And with the company, like you must have a structure, a lot of people working for your company. There must be board of directors and stuff like that. But then I come to find out, maybe it's just a sole owner's company, a one-person company, but a CEO. So that's very strange. And, you find this term thrown around easily. But it's really unfortunate. But, let's go back to the question. Being successful in a business, I think it's just a matter of mindset. It's really mindset. If you have that mindset to be successful, I think you can be successful in anything. As I prefaced previously, it's really not about the type of business or having the money to do the business, but you must have the right mindset in order to be successful in doing that business. Because you think about it, in businesses where many people fail in, some people are very successful in. So the difference between those who are successful in the business and those who fail in the same business is just a matter. The difference is mindset.
When you say mindset, put meat on it. What is it that entails mindset?
Okay, let's go into the mindset. How there are actually laws. There are actually laws that this universe and all activities operate based on. It's just like law of gravity. Whether you know the law of gravity or you don't know, if you jump from the roof of building down, guess what? You're gonna fall and you're gonna break your leg. You might say, "Well, I didn't know whether law of gravity existed or not." It does not really matter. That law exists. So the law in success is you have to build whatever you plan to build physically. You have to build it in your mind before you go to build it physically. And if you don't build what you think you want to build physically in your mind, it would not. I can almost guarantee you will lose it. It's not going to happen. And vice versa. If you've already built it in your mind and physically that business crumbles, you're going to build it back. And you've seen many people. There are many people, a very famous person that who has filed bankruptcy many times. But the fact that they had built a business in their mind, guess what? They would always be they can always
bounce back.
very rich. they can come back to be very rich. Because guess what? The business already built in their mind. That's what it is. And that's based on everything.
Dr. De Gaulle, Dr. De Gaulle, lots of people are watching this broadcast now on the internet, on YouTube, and so on and so forth. Many people will come back to watch later. There are lots of people who are going to be watching in Africa, especially people who have graduated from universities with no work. What is the message you have for them?
As your previous guest did say, me personally, when you go to school, have an education, it is just for self. Education is really to discipline, to have discipline, for you to be disciplined and then open your mind. But once you've gotten your education, please, you don't need to wait for anybody to give you work. You need to use what you have learned in school. Use your creativity, look at your environment, and what is a problem, what are regarded as problems, normally are opportunities. So just look at the problem within your community and come up with a solution. If you come up with a solution, I can almost guarantee you that you'll be prosperous.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. De Gaulle Kabinda.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
You are watching Voices of Africa on Chat Night. I just had the voice of Dr. De Gaulle Kabinda calling from Maryland. Yes, the mindset factor, Dr. Joybet Njavnu. Again, I come back to your life story, which is very inspiring. You were homeless. You became a bartender, not because you really wanted to be. You had to have a place to lay your head over the night. So what's that mindset that got you out of there? That no, this is not your portion. This is not going to be the place for you.
Well, I think it's just a mindset to have a better life, the mindset to create a better future for yourself. And like the last caller just said, the doctor from Maryland, mindset is very powerful if you're going to build a very successful life and if you're going into business. It is very important to understand that if you are going to make anything beautiful out of your life, when you are able to create certain I like to call them fragments of mindset, like in business is important. For example, if you're going to make it in business, you need to have a creative mindset, a mindset that you can create and you can contribute. Because in the society, we have consumers and we have creators. And people who lead successful businesses are people who understand how to use their mindsets to create value. Because your hands, if you can only build anything with your hands, if your mind can create it. From there, you need to understand how to develop a resilient mindset, because you don't succeed in a few days, in a few weeks. But when you have the mindset that is resilient, it can keep you going forward. It keeps you in that position where you can build your dream business or your dream career. So just having that right structured mindset and having this possibility mindset that there is a better tomorrow. I personally believe that. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but there's one thing that I believed, that there is going to be a better tomorrow. And as a Christian, as a boy raised up in church, of course, we believe in faith, and we know that, God's time is the best, and God is good, and there are beautiful things ahead. He knows the plans He has for us and all of that. So, and I totally believed in that. And I always say that my job is to take personal responsibility, to work hard, and to have faith, right? And leave the rest to God. That's always my belief. And when you begin to have that mindset, that forward-looking mindset, that creative mindset, that value creation mindset, you will always position yourself in the place where you can be sought after and you can become successful.
We love Voices of Africa. Keep watching.
Dr. Richard Munang in Kenya would say, the problems we have in Africa are in themselves opportunities.
Exactly.
So if there are opportunities, and if we have so many problems, would it be that people are not tapping into the problems to create value? And if that's the case, what would it take for them to do that?
I would like to take us to the part of culture, to the part of how we grew up, because the kind of culture that you grew up in or the kind of information you grew up consuming will definitely determine the kind of life you will create for yourself. So many of us go to schools, and our school system prepare us to leave school and to apply for jobs, right? I personally went through school and I did not hear the word entrepreneur or starting a business, right? They didn't prepare us for the marketplace where we can begin to create. And you cannot blame somebody who has the information of just looking for a job and they have not been educated or grounded on the basis that they can create opportunities for themselves. They can create jobs for themselves. So there's a part of culture. And again, that is where the power of personal development comes in. That's where the power of being willing to unlearn, relearn, and learn new things come in. Because when you understand that your process of trying to get a job is not working, you need to find a better way to make it work. And the only way to find a better way is for you to practice self development and get the right skills, the right knowledge, the right resources and experience that can put you in a position where you can create the jobs that you need for yourself, and why not for other people. And most importantly, we need to stop minimizing stuff, which goes back to culture. I mean, we are raised up knowing that the best jobs are for people who are working in offices. I have a primary school classmate who was able to build 2 houses before me. I was still trying to get my master's degree, and he's a mechanic. He's doing way better than me financially than when I was having a master's degree, but he has just for school living. He didn't go to the secondary school, right? So people need to understand that you can have you can monetize and convert an informal job like a roadside restaurant into a standard restaurant. You can become a good wood furniture expert and create a good creation and distribution and mass commercialization system from it. We need to learn that anything that can make the lives of people easy is a business opportunity. It's not about you sitting in an air-conditioned office. And I like to say, money is not in offices. Money is on the street. And anybody who understands how the street works, you're going to find money, right? So even those who sit in offices, somebody needs to leave the street to come give you money in the office before you can get paid. And we need to stop minimizing, especially in Africa and Cameroon. Don't stop just looking for white collar, suited, tie jobs and all of that. Yes, if that's your desire, that is good. But many people are like what Nate said. One of the major reasons why I did my research in MBA on post-succession planning and family businesses, one of the major reasons is that people, the younger generation, do not like the things that their parents did. Your mom or your dad was running a roadside restaurant and they were able to sponsor you through school. And maybe you read business management or marketing, but you feel too big to work in that same business. Instead of using your knowledge from school and converting that business into a more standard and sustainable business. Your mom or your dad did what they call buy and sell. They will buy stuff and resell, and they were able to make some money from it and sponsor you through school. Why not take that same business, convert from a buy and sell into a manufacturing business? That's the model that Dangote used and become a billionaire. He started by buying cement. When you do buying and selling, you understand the business model, understand the operations and all of that. From there, you can understand how you can begin to produce what you are buying and you're selling, and you can make more money for yourself. So we need also, again, we need to start teaching our young people right from school that, look, anywhere that somebody needs your help is a business opportunity. How can you just make it better and make it more productive and move forward from there?
Now you understand why this gentleman is fondly called Mr. Remarkable. That's Dr. Joybet Njavnui. My name is Divine Chamakong. I'm anchoring this broadcast from Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, and you're watching Voices of Africa on Chat Night Africa.
We love Chat Night Africa. Keep watching Chat Night Africa.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will be bringing back up Dr. Njavnui momentarily, but time for us to listen to a duo in Maryland. That's Mr. Mr. Lazarus Schatzeka and his friend Bliss in this track, tribute to Ekambi Briand. We will be right back. Enjoy.
Onimbo wa sunyabwa mumandolo moino mumamongele mamese mananga nona bihi na masenga sopubi ulima nyumunya weya nyola mabula mongo na longina ison unamuto na pete de dolopo o bola wa mo o munamuto obunyabo okwatenge o makusane mamo nasibinga topunya bomenetenge opo na manangande doti buluna bulute nasimato kisane nasima bimati pita wanda to babotiti yebeweni sane munamuto na pete nende dolopo o bona wamo o munamuto o bunyamo patenge o makusane bamo musungeri yedi musungeri na poide usunga minyo solo si papa musungeri ide musungeri na poide usunga minyo solo si bamba na lomabe na tete ya mono osunga bao tueni yobae ochopeda ndiasi benitume ekupa osuyajo wako usungeri yedi musungeri na poide usunga minyo solo si bamba usungeri yedi musungeri na poide usunga minyo solo si bamba Rest in peace Mutamwenya Toto Ekambi Briand Benga loba nyabuso Yindina tondone mona nune Tojano usini beta Asime nene o paradis Repose en paix, que la terre de nos ancêtres soit légère. Des wenge, dans les titipes, Bila, bémolement, Kabamba, Isiga, Mande ou Mate.
And that is Mr. Shatzeka and his friend Bliss. Wow, you're watching Voices of Africa on Chat Night. We're broadcasting concurrently on YouTube. We are on the website, thanks to my producer, Roger Full, producing this broadcast thousands of miles away from where I am. He's in Lagos, Nigeria. It's on the website www.chatnightafrica.net. It's on, boy, we everywhere online. And my guest today is Dr. Jobert Njavnui, who once was homeless, but now an international speaker, mentor, mentoring thousands and thousands of youth across Africa and the Middle East. I'm privileged to be hosting him on Voices of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's welcome Mr. Remarkable, as he is fondly called. Right, after that song by Bleeze and Mr. Shatzeka, here is a question everybody wants me to ask you. But before I ask you the question, if you go to Cameroon, there's something called Njangi. Some people call it Tongtin. Mm-hmm. In my village, Bali, we call it Ngwa. I don't know how it's called in Banso. I don't know. You get
the same. I think it's Ngwa is the same.
Oh, Ngwa. And in Liberia, it's Osusu. In Ghana, the Caribbean, Susu or Osusu. And so now this simply is a model which people come together, people in a family or people in a cultural group or people in an office, they come together, contribute money every month, and one person picks. And the whole idea is that you pick the money and go do some business or build a house with it. But the conundrum here, Dr. Njavnui, is that some people pick this money, they have a lump sum, and they just don't know they want to be CEOs. They want to move from being chief procrastinating officers to chief executive officers. They want to move from just stagnation, indecision to action. What is the message you have for them? Where do they start? How do they know that the idea they have is a profitable business idea? Dr. Njavnui, that is the question everybody wants you to answer.
Yeah, I will start answering that question from a particular angle, with the sense that, money is not the first thing that you need to start a business. And that's the major thing that many people get too confused about. When they think of starting a business, the first thing they're looking at is money. And in my framework of being able to build wealth, the first thing I like to talk about to people to do is learn how to make money, keep money, manage money before you multiply money. And I like to emphasize that the money you don't keep, you cannot multiply it. So if you pick up a Njangi before you are thinking of what to do with the money, that is already the beginning of failure. So and if you know that you're going to pick up a Njangi, of course, some people in a few months from now, a few weeks from now, the first thing that you need to start doing is to start seeking for the right marketable idea that you are going to invest the money in. And of course, not every idea is a marketable idea, an idea that you have not validated to be sure that this idea or this business you're about to start will meet the needs of the people. And most importantly, are people willing to pay for the idea? And also, one of the things that make people to fail in business, almost across all continents where I've worked with different business people, is if you don't have the right knowledge and the right skills and the right industry knowledge in particular about that business, no matter the amount of money they give you, you will struggle to make that business work. So the first thing that people need to understand on what to do is, do they have the right skills that can make the business work? Because every business will stand and become profitable based on the skill set that the business owner or the business manager has. And there is no way that you can validate an idea when you have not carried out the proper research or even prototyping. That's why I always advise people, don't sit in your house, think of an idea, write a business plan, and look for money to implement. That idea is going to crash. You need to make sure that you have done the proper research, create some prototyping, and test the idea. Always test the idea before you are able to fully invest money in the idea. Because you have 100 million francs or 100 million naira or $100 million doesn't mean that you should invest all the money in a business. There is nothing wrong having 100 million francs and taking just a 1 million francs to start very small, what they call the lean startup model. Start very small, validate that the problem you're trying to solve actually exists, validate that your solution is relevant, and validate that people are willing to pay for that idea, and validate whether your idea is a nice to have or a must have. Many people take ideas to the market, meanwhile their ideas are nice to have. A nice to have idea is an idea that people can quickly replace or can do without your idea. And if you don't know whether your idea is a nice to have or a must have, you will not know how to structure that idea, package it, and structure it in a way that people will not have any other choice than to buy your idea, pay for it, and make good use of your value. Again, all of this comes back to the relevant knowledge and the relevant skills, right? So it is very important. Like, for example, I've worked with a couple of clients that, maybe they have a rich family relative, or they stumble on a business grant and they're able to raise a couple of millions, and all they're looking for is, oh, I have this money, I want to start a business. And there are some people have stumbled upon that they have never read they have never read any business book before. They have never gone through any structural business training. They did not study business in high school or in university. They have no idea about anything that takes what it takes to run a business, but they have the money, and that is not enough. Money on its own does not make you successful in business. Money is just a very small element in the whole process. If you have the right money and you don't know how to generate the right idea, you're going to invest a good amount of money in the wrong idea, and in a few months you'll be broke. If you have the right idea, the right amount of money, and you don't have marketing skills, you will actually launch a good idea, but you cannot get customers to sell or make the money. You see, if you have the right idea, the right marketing skills, and you don't have administration, there are people who can start, they can make sales, but they don't know how to administer the business in a way that it can be sustainable and it can be productive. So I always advise people, one of the most important things to do at the beginning, at the early stages of your business, or if you are planning to launch a business, one of the most important things to do is, please go through a structured business training. Go through a structured, talk to a mentor, talk to a coach, talk to anybody that can just walk you through on what it takes, especially if you have no background in business. You don't guess work and build an incredible business. It's not possible. You don't assume and build a good business. You see, it's gonna hurt you one way or the other. Like, you just get up and you start a business, you don't even know the licenses you need, you don't know which government office to go to. There are these things that you have to know. If not, you will invest money in a business, few days later the government shuts you down. You will lose the money, you will lose your life savings, you will go back to ground zero because of a basic mistake. So these are some things that people can do, and I will encourage people, learn how to write a business plan. A business plan will teach you and open your mind to different things that your business you need to understand in your business, and you can begin to ask the right questions.
Apparently, I have somebody on the line calling from Texas. Hello. Well, I thought Valeria was on the line. That's okay. The other question that has just been sent to me by text is, how do you envisage the challenges that are likely going to come to you once you start the business? How can you foresee those things?
Yeah. Now, let me start by saying that in every business, you will face challenges. That's a fact. There's no business that you will not face challenges, and these challenges depend. But the good news is, the more relevant knowledge that you have in business, it becomes easier for you to solve these challenges. I always say that people that have problem solving skills are more happier in life. Because show me a sad person, show me a depressed person, I will show you somebody who has a lot of problems and they don't know how to solve it. So in business, one of the most important top 5 skills is problem solving skills, because problems will come. Like, for example, I always like to use this popular example. In 2019, I traveled different countries, like I always do almost every December, different countries. I work with different clients, and we develop strategic plans for the next year. We develop product plans and all of that. 2019, nobody anticipated COVID-19 in 2020. That is a business problem. But COVID-19 came, that is a problem. It's your job as a business person to maneuver that particular problem, right? Or you have a business and you plan a business. There's recession. There are signs of recession now. There are signs of inflation now everywhere. That's a business problem. It's your job to know how to solve the problem. So the best way to be ready for problems is for you to build your business augment, build your business knowledge and your skills, because poor sales is a marketing problem. You see, poor products is a poor product design problem. So there are many of these things. So the more you are able to build your business, that's why I always say that there is a romantic relationship between business and knowledge acquisition. As long as you're in business, you have signed a deal to consistently build and develop the right skills. And that's why there are top business schools across the world where they keep on designing, suggesting, promoting, and sharing new business concepts and principles and strategies and frameworks that business owners can use and remain sustainable and relevant.
We love Voices of Africa. Keep watching.
And I have somebody on the line. Hello, you're calling from Texas.
Yes, this is Valeria.
Hello, Valeria. Nice to hear. Hi, sir. Is it called? No, it's not the Sunshine State. Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's the Sunshine State.
Sunshine is Florida.
Florida, yes, I remember. Thank you, Lady Valeria, for dialing into the show. I believe you have something to say about how you get from being the chief procrastinating officer to being the chief executive officer.
That is true. And thank you so much, Dr. Jobert, for your insight. Very, 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 very informative. And I just love your spirit and everything. So one thing I would say is your daily activities. You have to look at what you do daily. If you want to move from procrastination to being productive, then look at what you do daily, because what you do daily would definitely get you somewhere. I always say the secret of your future lies in your daily routine. Mm-hmm. So what is it that you do daily? Is it getting you closer to your goals or away from your goals? And then change. Mm-hmm. And that is one way to fix that problem. The other one is just reminding yourself that it's always up to you. It's not because of your past. Mm-hmm. It's not because of where you are, but it's about where you're going. And so long as you can always tell yourself that, and just do it, just get to work. Think of, just like he said, problems, we have to look for solutions. When you look for a solution, then you will always have something to do. So when you go out to solve a problem, then there's always a market for what you provide. So never look at a job as if it's beneath you. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a story. I don't know if I want to share that story now.
Well, if it's going to be brief, that's fine.
Okay, very brief. So when I came to the United States, I ran into someone that asked me, so you just came from Cameroon, do you have a degree? What did you do? And I said, I have a master's in linguistics. And he said, oh, you have to forget about your education, because when you come here, you have to start all over. And I said, no, why? I will use my degree in this country. And he said, oh, well, so fast forward, one time I was looking for a job, and I went to Houston Community College. It was to help the secretary to, with meals and all of that. And when I went in, to cut a long story short, fill out the application, the department chair looked at it and said, you have a master's. Why are you looking for this job? And I said, well, I don't have a job, so I'm looking for something to do. Then she said, we have a position in the department, and you will be a good fit. And I was like, okay. And that's that's how I got a job and taught there for 11 years, and the rest is history. So because I was not looking at being the assistant of a secretary as a low paying job or because it's beneath me, then I became a professor. And most people wanted to know, how did you get that job when you did not study here? So the moral of that story is no job is beneath you. And when you lower yourself, you will be raised. So
Why do you think, Valeria, why do you think, or what do you think is keeping lots of African youths unemployed?
One is because they think there are certain jobs that are not for them, it's beneath them. And another is, education, what they study. We have a country, a continent that is focused more on consumption and not production. So
we're listening to you. Hello?
Yeah, I'm losing you.
Okay. No, did you hear? Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. So once I would say that we have to always realize that because we go to school, education is meant to empower us. It's not a means to an end. It's a means to a beginning. We have to use education to achieve more in life. Because you are a pharmacist or because you're a nurse doesn't mean that you end there. You have to always think beyond that, see it as a part to something bigger.
Thank you so much. You have a last word before you go, Valeria?
The secret of your future lies in your daily routine.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead.
Thank you. You also.
And you just had Valeria Awa Angafo calling from Texas. This statement, Dr. Njavnu, that our young people who graduate from school look at certain things to be beneath their stature, it keeps coming up. Can you put that in perspective, sir?
Yeah, again, I think it keeps coming up because of culture, what we are taught, to believe or to see that the people that are socially accepted are the people who are working in offices or government jobs. That's where the desire that people had to write government concourse and to be employed by the government or started. And of course, people need to, if we move beyond just looking at jobs, but seeing industries that can birth multi-million businesses, it's going to make it easy for people, right? Instead of seeing a roadside restaurant, see a business, see a fashion, see a restaurant industry, see a business that can feed thousands of people, instead of looking at somebody who is just a roadside teller, as we may call it, see a fashion design company. So people look at, and also people look at how people do jobs or do certain businesses, and they conclude on them. Because somebody started a roadside restaurant and ended as a roadside restaurant doesn't mean that you cannot start as a roadside restaurant and someday have a hotel and a 5-star restaurant, right? So one thing that also happens is that people like to judge quickly. We look at the experience of other people and we conclude that we are going to have the same experience, which is not so. We can all create different experiences for ourselves, and we can look at how we can convert something small to become better, how can you convert a small business into a giant company? That's the kind of mindset that we need to start having, so that we can create better possibilities for ourselves and, of course, for the community.
We love Voices of Africa. Keep watching.
Dr. Njavnu Joybet, you have started the business, you have the right idea, but chances are that you're not going to be the only person doing that business. Other people see you succeeding and they jump into it. How do you then stay ahead of your competition? How do you then do this business in a profitable way in a very highly competitive environment, sir?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that people need to know is that there's a big market. There are 8 billion people on earth. So, except a business, I mean, the most biggest companies in the world are not yet satisfying 8 billion people. That should be hope for anybody, right? And business business is not just about competition, it's also about your uniqueness, it's also about your competitive advantage, it's also about your ability to take advantage of opportunities. And the best way that you can compete in business is for you to understand how to use what you have to fill the existing gaps in the market. Because there are already existing companies in a particular industry doesn't mean that there are no gaps in that industry. You can identify the gaps and take opportunity of the gaps. For example, many people may have felt that as far as the taxi industry is concerned, there are no gaps, but somebody identified a gap and developed something called Uber, right? So just being able to be more critical, look at gaps and frictions in the market, find ways and solutions to fill these gaps, be more competitive, have better staff, better qualified staff, create better experiences for your customers. There are diverse ways that a business can perform better in the midst of high competition. And again, this goes back to your ability to have the right creative mindset, your ability to have the right research mindset, your ability to identify patterns and introduce better ideas and disruptions in the marketplace is going to help you to become very competitive. You are not, I like to, this may be very extreme, but you are not a complete entrepreneur if you look at competition and you don't venture into a sector. Look at competition and see that, to me, if there are more people in a particular sector, it means there's more money in that sector. It means that there are more people buying that particular product. Okay, how can I do it better? And that's why a good business person understands how to analyze their competitors, find their weaknesses, and do something better than what they're already doing. So it's just to look at what can you do better than other people, take advantage of it, get to the market, and do it better than them.
And
Do it.
and customers love to go where they're treated right.
Exactly. So
This is Dr. Joybet Javnui, fondly called Mr. Remarkable. This is, you can call this a business class on Chat Night Africa. Mr. Remarkable, you have written remarkable books, some of which are Building, Managing, and Monetizing Attention. The other one is From CPO to CEO. I borrowed that phrase from you, I have to be honest about it. From Chief Procrastinating Officer to Chief Executive Officer. You have written Skyrocket Your Profits. You have 40 plus business models and examples. And then you have business lessons from, let me see here, you're going to have to complete that for me, from drug cartel lords. That's strange to me then. You're going to have to explain that. Then, I love this one. I really love this one. The Business Idea Handbook. Why did you think it was necessary for you to write all these books? And what is the message? What's driving you? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I just felt that I get to receive a lot of questions from people personally, conferences I go and speaking and all of that. And one of the best ways that I can also put the experiences that I have had over time is to put them in books. I have had the privilege to travel several countries, 4 continents so far, and still traveling. And it means I've been exposed to all kind of CEOs, all types of founders, all types of businesses, and all of that. And these are relevant experiences that if people can read, it can enable them to be able to build better businesses and careers for themselves. Like, for example, the book that talks about the 40 plus business models. I have helped many people to build different businesses. I have reviewed and consulted with different business models. So I've decided to put all of these business models in a book in a way that anybody can get that book. And because there are some people that have ideas, but they don't know how to make that idea work. But a business model is a step-by-step process on how a business make money. What are the operations that a business goes through to make money? So I've put all of these more than 40 business models in one book in a way that you pick that book, you see different ways that different companies and small businesses make money across the world. And you can look at and even copy and paste if you want, or you can copy, innovate, and execute if you want. So
Please
it's
hold
just
your
putting
thought
that
there. Hold your
experiences
thought.
in
I
all
have
of these
somebody on the
things.
line. Mr. Herbert Chimanga. Hello, Mr. Chimanga.
Hello, Divine.
Yes, sir. Thank you for dialing into the show.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling precisely from Lanham, Maryland,
Oh,
USA.
beautiful. I hear there are lots of Achu eating houses there and Kati eating houses in Lanham, Maryland.
Very true, sir.
I have to
Yes,
visit you this evening then. I have to visit you this evening.
Yes.
So,
you're welcome, sir.
So what is it you have to say? You have a question to ask, you have a comment to make, you have the microphone open or the line open.
First of all, I must commend the speaker on the line, Dr. Jamni, for his how he has really highlighted the notion of business and creativity. I think it's an eye-opener to many young graduates, particularly back in Africa, in Cameroon, which is our own country, where many people graduate from schools and they are sitting there, they are doing nothing, and they are all expecting everything from the government.
Yeah.
So they should have the sense of innovation, of creativity. But I think to the government, the system, they need to put in place the right ecosystem, the enabling environment, the water, the electricity, you know, the good roads, the peace. These are some of the factors of a business, which if you don't have, business would not move, no matter what energy you put in place.
Yeah.
So I wish to really appreciate what he's doing and what you, in particular, Divine, you are doing to, you know, to mentor our youth, to mentor and the society and educate the society in many aspects, in business, in the idea of health, environment, and all whatnot. I wish you more grace at your elbows. And once a while, I listen to Chat Night Africa, and I always come out of it being a better person in the specific domain. I owe much to that program. So may God bless you and for this, service, for this unconditional service you are rendering to society. Thank you so much, Divine, and congratulations to Doctor and many other speakers who have always come on board to render their sacrifices. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Herbert Chimanga, calling from Lanham, Maryland. I truly appreciate you. See, Mr. Chimanga, the concerns of people are at the center of the decisions we make here. We like to go for bread and butter issues, pocketbook issues, kitchen table issues, because these are things that people need. That's why we bring somebody like this, like Dr. Joybet Njafnui, to practically share ideas on how you can start a business from zero, on how you live from being a homeless like he was to becoming an international reputable speaker, going to Middle East, coming to the United States. He's right here on speaking engagements in the United States, teaching people, mentoring thousands and thousands of youths in Africa. And I dare say, if he can do it, you can do it.
We dare say he has gone from grace to grace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Remarkable, Mr. Remarkable, when you come here, this guy is like a moving dictionary, and I'm sure that if the proof of the pudding is in the mouth, you have tasted it, and there's more to come. That's why each time we can grab him, we grab him, and he so graciously accepts our invitation to come on Voices of Africa. Mr. Remarkable, what is it in bullet point format that you'd like people to take home? What are the nuggets? What do you want people to remember from the 1 hour plus you've been here, when we shut down this program in a few minutes. What is it people should take home? The take-home message, sir.
The first thing I would like to say is that anybody can create a beautiful life for themselves. You can create a beautiful career, a beautiful business, and a beautiful life for yourself. Be somebody who creates impact for the community, for other people, make your family better. You can create, and I'm using the word create because the world is only for creators. Even if you're an employee right now and you're working for a company, you are working in that company and you're being paid because you are a creator. And the only way that you can remain relevant in that company is for you to keep on creating relevant value. So believe that you can take the responsibility, take the steps and the action to create a better life, a better business for yourself. The second thing I will talk about is if you want to go to the next level, acquire the skills that the next level requires. You can never build a life, build a career, build a business beyond the quality of your knowledge and your skills. I would like to say that whatever is in your bank account right now directly corresponds to the quality of your knowledge and your skills. If you want to become better in your business, get the relevant knowledge. You want to make more money. If you want to move your business from making $1 million a month to making $10 million a month, you need to acquire the knowledge and the skills that can qualify you to begin to make $10 million a month. So you need, because you can never create beyond what you know. If you want to create more, know more, know relevant stuff that you can do. The third thing I want to talk about is learn to believe in future possibilities. Don't conclude on your tomorrow today. Anything can happen tomorrow. God is a God of possibilities. Always believe in future possibilities. Your life may be difficult right now. Your business may not be the best right now. You may not even have a job right now, but believe that anything can happen tomorrow. As long as you don't control tomorrow, anything can happen tomorrow. So believe in future possibilities. And the fourth thing I will talk about is learn the art of positioning. Master the art of positioning. Look, everybody is talented, but not everybody is positioned where opportunities can find them. Everybody can have a certificate, but not everybody understand the art of positioning themselves where the right job opportunities can find them. Talent is equally distributed, but opportunities are not. And the only way to be where an opportunity can find you is for you to actually understand the art of positioning. I like to call it marketplace positioning. There are many people that have good ideas and are willing to work hard, but they don't have investors. And there are investors somewhere that have the money and looking for good ideas to invest in, and they cannot find ideas. So it is your job to know how to position yourself where the right investors can find you. And of course, lastly, start. One of my books that Mr. Divan has been talking about is From Chief Procrastination Officer to Chief Execution Officer. Many people are still where they are because they have not started. Stop waiting for the perfect time, for the perfect money, for the perfect support, for the perfect resources. You will never have perfect time, perfect money, perfect support, perfect resources. You will never have that. So you just need to start. Start with what you have. Use what you have and start. And that's one thing with business. Learn how to leverage your experience and start. Learn how to use what you have to monetize it and get what you don't have. Like Mr. Nish said earlier, he was a popular man, but he didn't have a business per se. But he knew how to cook. So he leveraged his cooking skills and his popularity. He brought the two together and he started a very
That
successful
was so
restaurant.
beautifully said. So
Right?
beautifully
So
said.
you need to learn how to leverage. You can use your previous job experience, use whatever, maybe your school knowledge, just do a self-analysis. What do you have that you can start small and you can expand? And here's one good news. There is no company that started as a billion-dollar company. Every company on earth started as a small business. Every company. including Apple, which is the most valuable company on earth right now. They all started very small.
Here is what, yeah,
my
here's what Dr. Digol Kabinda says: keeping your ears on the needs of the community and coming up with ways to provide the need to your customers. And then he further goes on to say, well articulated, Dr. Njavnui, don't conclude your tomorrow today. Don't conclude your tomorrow. That's very philosophical. Thank you so much. Now, you've written so many books on how people can start a business, how people can get to the top and stay at the top, because some people go to the top, very soon they start spiraling down. And we've seen that so many times. You've written just so much in business, startups. Lord, where can I even end? Where can somebody find these books? They are valuable tools.
Yes, you can find all my some of my books right now are already on Amazon. You can go to Amazon. You may just type my name, Japhne Joybert, or Dr. Japhne Joybert, and you'll see all my books on Amazon that you can buy. And you can also follow me on all my social media handles, Japhne Joybert, and you can write me. I reply all my messages, and I'll reach out to you to answer any questions or direct you where you can get more materials that can help you to build a successful career and a thriving business.
Or if you really want to contact him, if you contact me, I will hook you up. You see, it was a Nigerian social critic who said Africans socialize a lot, but they network very little. I get it. Africans socialize a lot, but they network very little.
Yeah.
So we're here to network with you, regardless of what nationality you are. If you find a speaker here who comes on my platform and would like to talk to him or her, by all means, contact me. You can go to Amazon. You'll find Dr. Njavnui's wonderful books there. Learn to create value. Be so good at what you do that even somebody hates your face, doesn't like your face, doesn't like your name, they have no choice but to hire you. Be so good. Be so good. I like that line. And you said just so many things which I cannot forget. Dr. Richard Munang says Africa has so many problems, but these problems, challenges, are opportunities in themselves. Just create value in those problems. Look at what problems people have, provide solutions, and your road to becoming a millionaire is right open in front of you. Dr. Njavnui, I can't thank you enough. I know you are visiting in the United States. Just briefly, tell us, what did you come to do here?
Well, a couple of speaking engagements here and there. I've been Columbus, DC, Maryland, Houston. I'll be going to Detroit, Michigan. So I'm just here and here as I speak in a couple of events and provide consulting to government agencies and, of course, private companies.
So if you are in Cameroon and you know the terrain very well, if somebody in Cameroon wants to open a business, start a business, they can contact you, right?
Yes, that's what we do. Yes.
Absolutely great. That's wonderful. I want to also thank the callers, Alene Mengedu, who came like a tornado on the show. Very knowledgeable guy. He's in Douala, the owner of the reputable Nice Kitchen. I want to thank Lady Valeria Awa Angafo for calling from Texas, Dr. Kabina Digol for calling from Maryland, Herbert Chimanga calling from Lana, Maryland. I also want to thank all the people who have contributed towards making this platform this dazzling. You see, what you said, start with what you have, Dr. Njavnui, resonated with me on this platform. If we had wanted or waited for this platform to look the way it looks now, we never would have started.
Exactly.
Boy, you have to go and see the rudimentary way Chat Night African started 4 years ago. Sometimes I look back and say, wow.
Yeah, somebody said, a business expert once said that if you look back at your first product and you don't feel embarrassed, then you started late.
Wow.
Yes.
Listen.
One sign that you started on time was that anytime you look back at your first ever product, you feel embarrassed at the quality. But embarrassed in a good way. At least you started what you have. So it's a sign of a moving business.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joybert Njavnui, Mr. Remarkable as he's fondly called. And that is how we come to the end of this broadcast this day. We will be coming with lined up powerful interviews. I'm not going to disclose the content. You will love what each time you come on Chat Night Africa and see. We have 3 programs running. We have Voices of Africa, which is what you're watching now. We have Healthline. We also have Family Matters.
We love Voices of Africa. Keep watching.
And you watch Voices of Africa on Chat Night Africa. This broadcast is currently on our website, www.chatnightafrica.net. I want to thank my producer, Roger Full in Nigeria, who is producing this program, or all the programs we do over there in Nigeria, thousands of miles away. And you can also watch this show on YouTube. You can watch it on LinkedIn. You can watch it on Facebook. So you don't have to be on Facebook to watch any of our shows on this platform. My name is Divine Jamokong.
We love Chat Night Africa. Keep watching Chat Night Africa.
And on that note, we say goodbye. See you at another time.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming to get down. I'm coming to dance, We're gonna dance, we're gonna get down, we're gonna party.